Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing amazing. This is David Hoffman from Davidsbeenhere. Back in early 2019, I took an incredible trip across South Korea in partnership with the KTO, Korean Tourism Organization. We traveled from Seoul, the capital, down to Busan, the second largest city, and we also visited Daegu. I mean, we had such an incredible trip. It's one of my favorite trips in Asia. I mean, the food, the people, the advancement in technology, so modern, such an incredible country. And today what I want to do is I want to talk to you about the top 25 things to see, do, and eat in Seoul, South Korea. If you guys are ready, let's dive into the video. One of the first things you need to experience when you visit Seoul is authentic Korean barbecue. This unique type of barbecue combines fatty, high quality grilled meats with fresh ingredients and sweet, spicy, and savory flavors. One of my favorite types of Korean barbecues is samgyeopsal, which consists of a rich piece of pork belly that you grill at your table and cut into strips. Then you take a strip and you wrap it in a piece of lettuce with garlic and a spicy red pepper sauce called gochujang. You also should not miss the marinated beef ribs called galbi, which are marinated in a sweet, glazy sauce and grilled with the bone still inside the meat. The meat is so tender it falls off the bone. You can't beat it.
Oh my god.
If you'd like to learn how to make some of your favorite Korean dishes, you can always enroll in a Korean cooking class. Your instructor will provide the recipe and all the ingredients you need. All you have to do is follow the directions and you're all set. During my Korean cooking class, I prepared two fantastic dishes including spicy seafood, tofu, and vegetable stew called sundubu jjigae, and a savory squid and vegetable pancake called haemulpajeon. Even if you're not a great cook, you'll leave feeling way more confident about your skills in the kitchen. Trust me, if I can make these dishes, anyone can.
It's so good, huh?
Dude, this is like the best pancake of all time. To learn more about Korea's past, I suggest visiting the National Museum of Korea, which opened its doors in 1945. It's considered the flagship museum for showcasing Korean history and art. Inside, you'll find lots of fascinating items on display, including beautiful Kaldon ceramics from the 12th and 13th centuries, massive, colorful scrolls featuring the Buddha, and a hall containing many statues of arhats, which are Buddhist figures who have reached enlightenment. While you're at the museum, you can also carve your own seals, which you can use on an ink stamp on a letter you can send to loved ones. And this wall shows us what each country, when they carve Buddhas out, what it looks like. Each one's very different. India, China, Korea, and Japan. Japan is like thinner ones. China a little thicker. Some of them are like fat and laughing Buddha. No visit to South Korea is complete without indulging in Korean fried chicken and beer. The best place in Seoul to have some is Oven Chicken and Beer, where you can try their standard fried chicken recipe, as well as a sweet and spicy version covered in a tangy sauce, and another that's coated in a rich brown soy sauce. The chicken is extremely high quality, as it has never been frozen and doesn't contain any harmful additives like hormones and antibiotics. It's crispy, juicy, and fresh, and honestly blows American fried chicken out of the water. Enjoy your meal with a light and refreshing cast beer, which complements the chicken perfectly.
Wow.
Do you like one more than the other?
This one's way better.
Yeah.
One of the most significant historical events to ever take place on the Korean Peninsula is the Korean War, which lasted for 4 years between 1950 and 1954. The lives lost at the war are commemorated at the next place you must visit in Seoul, the Korean War Memorial Museum. On the ground floor are vehicles such as planes, cars driven by former presidents, and even Soviet tanks. And in the Korean War Room, you'll find weapons like rifles, machine guns, and rocket launchers, as well as a memorial that honors the different countries who took part in the war and all the troops who lost their lives. It also tells you how many people were involved from each nation. So US, we had almost 1.8 million soldiers and 36,000 fatalities. Up next, we have the JOGYESA Temple, a beautiful Buddhist temple near GYEONGBOKGUNG Palace in the Insa-Dong neighborhood. This temple was established during the Joseon Dynasty in 1395 and serves as the main temple for the Jongye order of Korean Buddhism. The temple is a mix of a traditional temple and palace architecture, and inside you'll find gorgeous golden Buddha statues. If you visit between May 6th and May 22nd, the temple will be decorated in colorful lanterns featuring lotus flowers, traditional figures, and other objects that represent people's wishes. Okay, look at that. Golden Buddhas, check this out, they're huge. Like Japan, an important element of Korean culture is its convenience stores. Before you turn your nose about it, you should know the Korean convenience store food is nothing like the kind you get in America. Instead of a greasy and overlaid processed food you get in the USA, the food in Korea's convenience stores is super fresh, tasty, and healthy. There are 3 main chains: 7-Eleven, Family Mart, and See You Soon. I recommend trying the triangle gimbap, which contains pork and gochujang sauce, and the traditional gimbap, which contains marinated beef, rice, carrots, and yellow radish. There's also a bowl of creamy rice porridge that contains lots of vegetables, but if I'm being completely honest, while it's extremely healthy, it wasn't really my jam.
I love the crunch of the seaweed. The seaweed's my favorite part.
Now that we've explored Korea's distant history, you can learn about its more recent history at the Changware Sarangche. One of the museum's coolest exhibits is the Wall of Presidents, which displays photos of every president from 1948 to the present day along with a list of their accomplishments. Further on, you'll find the room with an interactive, multilingual map and photos of some of South Korea's most popular tourist destinations. There, you'll learn about everything from the country's temples to its street markets. 3, 2, 1. Speaking of street markets, one of the best places to eat street food in Seoul is the TONGIN market, a covered market that opened in 1941 and boasts 75 shops and stalls. One dish you absolutely have to try is their kimchi-jeon, which is a moist and crispy pancake that contains a Korean specialty called kimchi. Kimchi is a spicy, fermented Korean cabbage that is bursting with flavor. It's even better in pancake form. There are many other dishes you must try at the TONGIN market, but topping the list is my personal favorite, tteokbokki. Tteokbokki is the ultimate Korean street food and consists of chewy, fried rice cakes in a rich, spicy sauce. The sauce is usually made up of a mix of gochujang and gochugaru sauces and is packed with a mouth-watering flavor. It will leave your tongue tingling and have your taste buds clamoring for more.
You have to try when you come to Korea. This and barbecue, for sure.
Oh. You can just pop those all day long, huh?
In order to properly experience Seoul, you have to visit the palaces. You can visit the palaces in your regular street clothes, but you'll have to pay a fee. But if you rent a traditional 17th century outfit called the HANBOK from a local shop, you'll get in for free. You can find many shops near GYEONGBOKGUNG Palace that rent hanboks. I chose a blue and gold one with a dragon on the chest with a white shirt and pink pants. I looked like a 17th century royal. Pretty cool, right?
Sam, how you feeling in that thing?
Oh man, it's so cool to be dressed up in it, but I'm like baking in here. Like, I'm just sweating profusely.
Now that you have your hanbok, take a quick walk to the GYEONGBOKGUNG Palace, a sprawling complex made up of over 500 buildings. It was built in 1395 and considered to be the most beautiful of the 5 grand palaces that were built during the Joseon Dynasty. It served as the home of the Joseon kings, their households, and government officials, and also contains a folk museum, a Buddhist temple, a pond, and a large pavilion. Wearing a hanbok as you explore the temple makes for a much more immersive experience, even if you're pouring sweat underneath like I was.
I think this is the most beautiful building in the whole place. You can see they have like this huge pond that goes around it. You can't actually go onto it, but this is the place where everybody comes to take photos. You can see everybody that's dressed up like us is here taking photos.
When you visit Seoul, you'll be remiss if you didn't try some Korean stews and porridges. There's a spot down a narrow alleyway near GYEONGBOKGUNG Palace that sells some of the best in the city, including a hearty but fresh stew that contains pork dumplings, noodles, radishes, kimchi, and spring onions in a miso-flavored broth. Toward the end of my time in Seoul, I tried a risotto-like shrimp and a seaweed rice porridge that was a flavor explosion in my mouth even though it didn't contain any spices. It's a healthy and hearty way to start your day.
Oh wow. So good.
Another grand palace in Seoul from the Joseon Dynasty is the CHANGDEOKGUNG Palace. It served as the main residences of the Joseon kings and dates back to 1405. UNESCO calls it an outstanding example of Far Eastern palace architecture and garden design, and it's easy to understand why. The architecture is very unique, and there's a secret garden that's absolutely breathtaking. Over 26,000 species of trees can be found in the palace grounds, and the hall used for royal ceremonies, including the king's coronation, is one of the most beautiful sights you'll see in Seoul.
This building is called the Cheongjeon Hall. This is where the king was coronated. His throne is right there as well. And basically in front of you, you have this humongous terrace, as you can see.
If you want to take a trip back in time while you're in Seoul, look no further than NAMDAEMUN Market, a traditional market that dates back to 1414. Among the market's 10,000 stalls are a great shopping opportunity, from clothing to souvenirs. I recommend checking out the maze-like Korean folklore store that sells authentic wooden masks. Hidden among the shops are street food stalls that sell a variety of treats, including a crunchy, deep-fried hot dog with a golden potato batter and the tastiest mandu I've ever eaten in my life. These amazing steamed dumplings contain juicy pork, glass noodles, and kimchi, and will have your taste buds craving more.
I know I'm gonna love this. I love kimchi. Sam said he loved it. The best thing all day, right? Oh wow. Oh my god.
You wouldn't think that you'd be able to find a quiet, peaceful experience in the heart of a city with nearly 10 million residents. But that's exactly what you'll find at our next stop in Seoul, Cheonggyecheon Stream. This is a tranquil area in the middle of the city that is made up of 2 pedestrian boardwalks with a stream flowing between them. You can cross the stream using one of the 7 bridges that span the water, or you can hop across using stepping stones in the stream. The area is filled with plant life and is surrounded by high concrete walls that block out most of the sound of the city, making it a lush oasis in the heart of Seoul.
But here it's really bright, people are hanging out on the steps, relaxing, either hear music, talking to friends, or you know, couples like you see right there.
Next up, we're gonna head to a popular Korean restaurant chain called Gimbap Cheongguk. They're known for their classical Korean dishes, which they serve all day long at an affordable price. Their kimchi mandu is a tender, flavorful packed dumpling that is loaded with tasty kimchi and lots of spices. But the main thing you must try there is their fried pork cutlet. It's perfectly battered and expertly fried, and it's topped with a sweet marmalade-like sauce. The fruity marmalade with the rich, fatty pork is the perfect flavor combination and will satisfy your belly for hours.
It's fried, nice piece of pork in the middle. Oh my god, it's a super filling dish.
Our next entry is one of Seoul's most prominent landmarks, Seoul Tower. You can drive there directly, or you can take the scenic route by hiking through the nearby NAMSAN Park, which is full of lush vegetation and offers stunning views of Seoul. Once you arrive at Seoul Tower, you'll pay 10,000 won, or about $8.33 USD for an adult ticket to the observation deck at the top. There, you'll get a completely different perspective from 236 meters above the city. After you leave the tower, follow a path lined with love locks to the Namsan cable car to take a 3-minute ride back down to the ground. You'll get to see Seoul from several different angles, and only at 7,000 won or just under $6 US, it's more than worth it.
Oh, after a 20-minute hike, we are here at Seoul Tower.
If you want to visit a traditional market that is more authentic and isn't packed with tourists, take a trip to MANGWON Market on the west side of Seoul. This all-purpose market is a hidden gem that really allows visitors to immerse themselves in everyday Korean life. There you'll find butchers, bars, supermarkets, and clothing vendors. You'll also find lots of delicious street foods, including an exotic-looking grilled dried file fish. It's dry, chewy, and salty, and is fantastic with the gochujang sauce. But the food I recommend the most is the pork belly that's sold by a vendor near the intersection in the center of the market. It's an explosion of tender pork and delicious, juicy fat, and is one of the best gastronomic experiences you can have in Seoul.
Super tender, the burst of fat explodes, super juicy. Whoa.
Modern Korean culture is driven by the country's youth, who like to hang out at our next spot in Seoul called HONGDAE. This trendy area is a bright and lively entertainment district that is lined with shops, restaurants, games, and street food vendors. There you can fully immerse yourself in K-pop culture by checking out the local fashion and watching dance performances by hip-hop crews on the street. One of the best things you could do in HONGDAE is find a restaurant that serves bulgogi, a type of Korean barbecue that is served family style and consists of marinated grilled beef, noodles, rice cakes, and sprouts. After you've eaten most of your bulgogi, your cook will add rice and seaweed to it to create a delicious, crispy and briny fried dish that is absolutely addicting.
Like that, oh, it's like...
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Another of Seoul's most notable landmarks is Lotte World Tower. At 1,821 feet high, it's the 5th tallest building in the world. There's a lot you can do there, including swim in the highest swimming pool on earth and grab a meal at Seoul 3080, which is a food court where you can find an amazing local dish called bibimbap. At the very top of the tower is the world's highest glass bottom observation deck that offers sweet panoramic views of the city. the Han River, and the distant mountains. If you want an even better view, head out to the outdoor section called the Sky Terrace. Just remember to take your jacket. It's cold out there even in summer. Yeah, I mean, these views are like never ending, and you can see how huge Seoul is. Forever mountains. I mean, so many mountains. We're like in a deep valley with the Han River right here. Lots of bridges and like thousands and thousands of towers, just like never ending towers. If you were alive in 2012, you know there was no way escaping Gangnam Style, the global anthem by Korean pop sensation Psy. The song references an area of Seoul called Gangnam, which is an upscale area south of the Han River that is known for its skyscrapers, trendy nightclubs, and designer retail stores. But the area also has a monument that is dedicated to the iconic song. The monument consists of a large statue of Psy, crossed wrists and hands, which fans remember from the famous dance from the music video. And trust me, if you don't attempt the Gangnam Style dance at the monument, you're missing out. Cross your wrist and let those knees fly.
So it's for my legs? Okay.
Yeah, just spread your legs.
Knees up.
Knees up? It's been a while. That's like 10 years old.
Foodies visiting Seoul should definitely carve out some time to visit the local mecca for Korean street food, MYEONGDONG Street. Keep in mind, it's very crowded and touristy, especially if you visit at night. My friend Paul took me around the area, where you'll find incredible treats like wasabi and fried chicken flavored almonds, and a custard-like egg bun. If you want something more savory, try the MYEONGDONG duck galbi, which is a tender beef patty that's topped with rice cakes and a mountain of cheese that is melted by blowtorch. It's so cheesy and flavorful even though it doesn't contain a lot of spices. It's like a Korean cheeseburger. You also have to try some skewered chicken with lots of different sauces. The teriyaki and barbecue sauces are amazing, but be careful with the spicy sauce. It will set your entire mouth and throat on fire.
Oh my god. It's the best chicken teriyaki ever.
I will admit, I'm a proud beer snob. If you're like me and prefer local craft beer over watery, mass-produced brews, you're in luck because Seoul is full of amazing craft beer. Head over to Manchin-duk to have a light, hoppy, and fruity pale ale or a tropical South Korean Hefeweizen. In the HONGDAE area, there's a great bar with a garden area where you can try a Belgian Chimay White Triple. One of my favorite spots was Craft Hans, which sells both Korean and international beers. There, I highly recommend their smooth and hoppy Hans IPA or their citrusy Weizen. They will blow your mind.
Man, that's a good beer. I like it though, it's very light. Same time you have the hops. A little fruity.
If you'd like to take a day trip back in time to 14th century Korea without leaving Seoul, visiting our next spot, BUKCHON HANOK village is a must. This traditional village in Seoul can be found on a hill between GYEONGBOKGUNG and CHANGDEOKGUNG palaces. I recommend visiting the village in the morning and grabbing breakfast at a nearby diner-like restaurant beforehand. Try the iced buckwheat noodles with egg, cucumber, radish, and spicy sauce. The combination of ice and spice made it one of the most unique dishes I've ever eaten in my life. Don't forget the ridiculously tasty gimbap, which is stuffed with pink sticky rice, canned tuna, carrot, egg, and kimchi. Once your belly is full, explore this historical village, but stay quiet as the people who live here may still be sleeping. As you walk the streets of the village, you'll get to see old homes that housed government officials and nobility, as well as gorgeous traditional architecture. There are also gift shops where you can buy figurines wearing hanboks, traditional masks, lavish jewelry boxes, and items from all over Asia.
This is really, really funny. Check out this doorway. Your kids take this door, you get the big door.
After you finish exploring Seoul, the best thing to do is to take a ride down to Busan, the second most populous city in South Korea. The best way to get there is by taking the KTX, the Korean Express Bullet Train. It travels at speeds up to 190 miles per hour and makes traveling between the two cities a breeze. An economy class ticket will cost you roughly $50 US, while the first class is nearly 20 more at $69 US. Regardless of which you pick, I suggest booking your tickets 4 to 5 days in advance. The 2 hours and 15-minute ride will take you across the green hills and through the farming communities as you travel from northwestern South Korea to the southern eastern tip. If you're around 6 feet tall like me, you'll be fine. The seats recline and there's lots of leg room. I'll tell you a lot more about the KTX bullet train and Busan in future videos.
And here we are, cart number 18. And the best way to know where the cart is to look to the floor. As you can see, 18. We have like no time. The train leaves in 6 minutes. Let me jump on this. Try to travel light.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
And finally, before you can do anything in Seoul, you have to get there. The airport that serves Seoul, Incheon International Airport, is actually located in the nearby city of Incheon. The fastest and most efficient way to travel between the airport and the city is by taking the Airport Express train, which connects the airport and Seoul Station. The ticket will cost you 9,500 won, or about $8 US. The Airport Express train runs every 30 minutes, so the cars are never full. On board, you get to enjoy free Wi-Fi on your 43-minute trip. When you're leaving Seoul, I recommend boarding the train 3 to 4 hours ahead of your flight so you have time to check in and go through security before your takeoff time.
After a 43-minute train ride, we've made it here to Incheon Airport, one of the busiest airports in the world. We have to go up and check in.
And that's it, guys. That's my top 25 things to see, do, and eat in Seoul, South Korea. This is one of my favorite cities on the planet. Such an amazing place. Lots of spicy food, incredible attractions, and the people. The people in South Korea are super friendly, super hospitable. And guys, if you love this video, please give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment below, subscribe to my channel for more awesome travel content. I'll see you in the next travel food adventure somewhere around the world. Peace.